and I can even see you, so that's perfect. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Whitefield channel. We are finally able to welcome Mr. Antti Klemi. Is that how you say it?
It's quite, yeah, Antti Klemi. Yeah, but I can live with that.
Yeah, you have to give it that Finnish twang, I guess, to make it to really make it work. But yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, yeah, welcome. Thanks for doing this. We talked a little bit here and there before we did the interview, but it's basically a cold introduction. I, of course, know the bands a bit, but normally, and I've written this in the intro too, normally I know about 98% of the people I'm interviewing, their worlds, their bands, whatever they're doing. But it seems that in this case, I know 2% of you and your entire world. And I'm pretty sure it's deliberate. It's not that you don't put out any info, but it's hard to come by any interviews or you know, or info about you or the band. So thanks for yeah, for doing this, I guess.
Yeah.
First off, how are you? Because you had a very busy week/weekend.
Yeah, we had 3 gigs. I play nowadays in this psychedelic drone noise band called Harri, and in their live lineup, and we had 3 gigs here in Finland with 3 other noise acts, and yeah, well, as you can imagine, it was a quite hectic time, and but great gigs and great laughs, and we had the last gig was in Helsinki in some sort of free space as a part of a shopping mall, and it was a free entry, and it was over 100 people came up to see noise music, and the people were like, damn, where did this all people come from? And it was a very nice night, almost like a festival, people coming, going, and lots of new faces, old faces, and great gigs from all the bands. There was Umpio and Haudat and Mogao, and then Fritala, and then we Harri too. So it was a great night.
They're all Finnish bands.
Yeah, those are all Finnish bands, and as somebody said in some forum that we don't need any foreign bands, noise bands coming to Finland because we have such a good bands here in Finland. So yeah, it was and every artist was, they said was quite different compared to each other, like some doing more noisy stuff, some more like scratching, and more like delicate stuff, and we were more like some sound of wall, drone synths and stuff like that. So tired but happy. Yeah.
I was following a bit on the Instagram, and I saw the obligatory chain on scratchy metal plates and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, was it in an active shopping mall, or was it just an abandoned shopping mall that was reappropriated?
It was active. Yeah, it's quite new shopping mall, and they have this free space that you can hire it, and they help you with some stuff, and they have their own sound mixing guy there, and but it was funny to see that you were watching those noise bands, and then you see when people coming on through the strolling, they're with their backpacks and stuff like that, and they are watching, what is that noise, and 2 words quite close to each other but still separated, but yeah, it was a very nice happening.
Is that, it seems that is something that has been going on for a while, because I remember seeing the Beharet live footage from a shopping mall. It was Battle of the Band style, stuff like that. I have watched that too. Yeah, it's quite, but I guess, well, in Finland, okay, we have those abandoned shopping malls and very weird places to play gigs, but on the other hand, there, especially in the bigger cities, city usually gives you some sort of space to perform, like in Turku and Tampere too. So, and where you can do whatever you want, free. There's no restrictions.
Yeah. usually yes, and of course none any political stuff or some just music. Yeah.
That seems to be the thing that gets things cancelled these days. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It seems like a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Were these gigs far apart, or are they located in some kind of scene?
It was in the first one was here in Tampere, and then one was in Turku, and then we ended to Helsinki. They are about 2 hours by car to each other. Quite easy, although yeah.
Because it is a vast country, maybe you had to travel out or something.
Yeah, Finland is quite a vast country, but usually things are happening in the southern part, so then it's quite easier. But luckily there are some good noise gigs in north too, like in Oulu. So
I've been to Rovaniemi once, but that was far from something like Helsinki, I guess.
Yeah.
Snow. Okay, good to hear. Yeah, we should dive into the interview, because I always say to everybody I interview, I tend to keep, or I want to keep it around the hour, but as you maybe noticed, that is, not my strong suit. It's usually over an hour and maybe into the 3-hour mark, but we'll see where we get. You are active in a ton of bands. There are some that are on the forefront, there are some that are not really known, maybe, that you are behind it. It seems that lately you have been more open about the bands you are playing into. To name a few, of course, Circle of Ouroborus, Absolute Key, Rotten Moon. Those are the 3 bands that I maybe want to focus on today. But the Absava, Void of Autumn, and especially Mental Terror, because there's nothing to about that band. Is it safe to say that was the first band, Mental Terror?
Yeah, it was the first like real band or some serious band. Like I remember that I was very into Swedish death metal back then, and I had an idea that I want to have a band like Dismember, like some melodic stuff, and then more like death metal. And then I had some friends in Lappeenranta, in my home country, hometown, and then it was more or less not so active bands. We were all doing studies, some in Helsinki, and I was in Jyväskylä. But we had 2 gigs, made 2 demos, and that was about that. So, but it was a start, yeah.
There's nothing too much to find. There were 2 CDR demo type things came out, but it seems they are unfindable. It's death metal, trash, I guess.
It was, the first was more death metal, but then there was some more trash elements on the second one, yeah.
Okay.
And, it was a more like a gathering of friends back then, and doing some stuff and enjoying ourselves. And then when time went by, it was okay. Maybe it wasn't this, and not so serious and big plans for that.
Yeah, okay. So it's basically the band you were in school at the time, or university around that time.
Yeah. I was starting in university.
Around that time, I guess.
Sorry, now I didn't hear you.
The year, but 2000, 2001, something like that, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. I moved to Jyväskylä to study Finnish language and literature in 1999, and
Okay. The lyrics a bit, I guess, or the start for the lyrics a bit. What was the because at 2000 you say you were into death metal. What was Finland at that time? What kind of bands were playing, or what was the scene in Finland? I guess.
Let's see. Well, when I moved to Jyväskylä, then there were quite much these I don't know what way, but black metal bands. I knew the guys from Algasant and Funeris Nocturnum, and I get to know those guys. But I think I'm not so good to say what was in and out back then, because I was I'm not saying I was an outsider, but not into. Okay, I went to see gigs and I had some metal friends, but not like really living it like back then. But I guess it was some sort of maybe death metal, maybe black metal, maybe there were new record labels starting up, and I don't say it was a extreme metal boom or something like that, but some bigger waves back then. Yeah,
it's rather hard period for me to find stuff because everything before 2000 is booming and everything after 2000 is booming, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what was exactly happening at the time or what bands were, you know, coming up here and there. But yeah, it's that's good. Let's dive into the bands, I guess. With Circle of Ouroborus, you are now at the 22nd full length, I guess.
That's correct.
There are tons of EPs, tons of splits, so there's enough material to dive in. I have to be completely honest and say that I of course didn't listen to all of it. I'm mainly familiar with the big landmark albums, I should say, you know, the English, the 3 English ones, and then the later material. But you are mainly the vocalist for this band, more vocalist and lyricist, I should say.
Yeah.
How is is there between you and the second guy, Atvar, is there a do you work together on the album, or is it completely finished musically when you get the tracks and then you put the vocals on them, or is there something like a collaboration when the music is being worked on?
I would say that we were quite separated, especially nowadays. We met in Jyväskylä when we were doing our studies, and back then we were quite active. We spent time together and maybe did that music more like together. But nowadays he's living on the other side of Finland and I'm living in Tampere, and well, because he's responsible for all the music, he just sends me stuff and okay, I made an album, do the lyrics and record the vocals and maybe do some artwork. And but although it sounds very weird thing to do, like is there any connection? I would say there is a very strong connection that when I get the music, I get quite easily into the zone that what it needs, and when I do the lyrics and send it to Atvar back, he usually is, yeah, this is what it needs, and I have this idea for this one and this one. So although we are not so interactive anymore to each other, we definitely have something, that weird something in the process that which has kept us together and keep doing more and more music. So I can say that we are not slowing down, although there are the massive catalog and maybe almost 20 years of career soon. So yeah,
you know each other from school, so that's almost a 20-year relationship in the making. When was the first, because I failed to mention or failed to look up, when was the first release for Ouroborus?
It was this demo tape Introitus. We released it by ourselves, maybe just 50 copies or something like that. And the first rough idea was just thinking that if Joy Division would play black metal, what would that sound like? So I wanted to have clean vocals, and then we just started to think how would that sound, and yeah, it's a quite decent demo, and it has those Circle of Ouroborus, I don't say trademarks, but that some character, like mid-tempo songs and quite melancholic stuff, and some even pop-like melodies here and there, and yeah, but that was the start. Yeah,
the sound has evolved over time, I should say, but there's always those key elements that kind of make up the sound that a Circle of Ouroborus, I guess. It comes from this post-punk black metal mixed together with, yeah, especially on this one, I feel like there's very warm, because it's black metal. And let's make it easy on ourselves and let's keep it black metal, especially this one, because I hear a lot of black metal on that one. But I also hear a very warm sound, and could be that it is influenced by the cover because of the brightness and the sun. But there's a very warm sound to Circle of Ouroborus that I can't explain, because it all comes from post-punk, and it should be very dreary and depressing, and black metal is very depressing. But where does the warm sound or the light side come from? Is that musically inspired, or is it just something that happens?
Well, it's hard to me to say because Atvar is doing his magic, but I could say that, well, especially back then and maybe nowadays too, he was really into some indie rock, like noise indie rock, like Huskadu and something like that has this wall of sound, although it's aggressive and very riff-like music, but there is always some sort of fuzz going on. That can be one explanation for that we don't want to be that very hard-hitting, aggressive, sharp band, more like people say that we had this underwater atmosphere that it makes a difference totally.
In the I think it was the Pitchfork review that you had for one of the more the Grayson Curran, was it, in 2012? He said they created Cradle for Total Absorption gray metal, and I thought the first part I can comprehend, because it has that that overcompensating atmosphere of maybe something meditative that is in the music, or that takes you away, takes you to another part. But the gray metal I found not offensive, but I found a weird moniker to put on the music, since gray is a very foul color to describe music, I guess.
yeah, maybe not the best color for us, but actually it's very hard for me to describe what our music like. During those 3 gigs, I had some Circle of Ouroborus stuff to sell there, and then some people came and, okay, what is this? This is like, and I'm
kind of hard.
Yeah, it's something like black metal. I don't know, is it melodic or aggressive, or okay, we have mid-tempo stuff and fast parts, and it was very hard to put in words how is our music. So, but okay, I wouldn't say it is gray metal. and in some point I was very tired of people were like, okay, this is post-punk black metal or post-black metal. I think we are not in that same league, like in was it in maybe 2010, when all these bands who were taking Godspeed You Black Emperor and Emperor and putting them together, like doing this long songs with wailing guitars, and I think we have always been quite song orientated, that we have those rhythms, riffs, stuff like that, not doing 10-minute long big vast songs. So usually if I had to put it in some box, I would say that we are black metal or dark rock or something like that, because it's quite rocking music in the end too.
Yeah, I was listening to this one Volta, and it's dawned on me that especially the second track, it has that riff that is basically a rock riff, that it's very it's actually an uplifting track within that record. So it's hard to categorize. I think what you were saying around the 2010 mark, that was when the gray metal moniker was put on.
Yeah,
those were the records that, for a lack of a better term, went mainstream a bit, due to the fact that they were on Handmade Birds, a label that has a bigger profile than maybe an underground black metal record. So it's easy for them to compare you to something like all the bands that were doing shoegaze and showing them to people. But I think for you guys, it is more of the total story that you need to. I mean, you started at how does Joy Division black metal sound, and then let's take it from there, see where we end up. I guess that's totally different than let's make shoegaze black metal.
Yeah,
it's kind of obvious why they threw you in at that time, maybe.
Yeah, and well, although this is a cliche to say it, but of course people can label us as they want. If they want to say we are that or this, I'm okay with that. And of course I usually read and want to hear what people thinking about our music, because as I said, it's so hard for me to put it in words. So I'm always interested in people's opinions, but in the end, that doesn't matter. Like I'm not getting offended if people say that we are this or that, but okay, I can get very amused about it, but I don't take it so serious. Yeah.
The thing is, the album is out anyway. No, it's not like you're going to pull them off the shelves if someone gives it a bad review. So in sense, it's fun to have recognition in that sense that people like it or feel something about it. But yeah, in the end, it really doesn't matter because it's out and you made it, I guess. It is weird that people that do not have Finnish as a native tongue can maybe feel so. It's not weird in the sense that if you listen to a straight black metal band, he has lyrics, he shouts them over the music, and you maybe hear it as a if you can't understand the language, it's maybe more of an instrument than something that you can understand and envelop yourself into the lyrics. But you had some English lyrics, especially once again the Handmade Birds records, but the majority is in Finnish. Do you see it as, like I said, an extra instrument? Because there's no way for me to interpret or understand the lyrics. So I know it's a bit about nature, philosophy, spiritualism mixed into one bag with some personality coming in. But how do you see your lyrics, I guess, working in the global sense? If that makes sense, that question.
Yeah. Well, if I start with this English versus Finnish question, back in the days when we started, it was more easier for me to write English lyrics and go with that. But in some point, I understood that I will always something is missing in the translation, so to speak. That I can't put all my ideas or what I want to say in English. So I then made a conscious decision and started to write in Finnish. I can't. Maybe is it? I can't remember what was the exact year or but after that, all the lyrics have been in Finnish. And it makes a little barrier between the listener and us, because I truly, the lyrics are very important for me, and I want to them sound and they good, and I want to have something more content into them, be it not just some words to scream. So, but I think our music is so strong that okay, if somebody doesn't understand what I'm singing, he or she can have lots of it after all. And there were some translations in some albums, like Unituli had those English translations there too. And I don't know if you know this little lyric book I released back then. I have been thinking that I maybe do another one soon, maybe next year. So, and of course nowadays people can just put the words to the Google Translate, and of course there's always that again this lost in translation happening there. But my lyrics are getting more and more simple.
Okay.
In some point I was trying to make some cool sounding words or doing some very cryptic stuff, but nowadays there are less and less words, and the message is quite okay. Somebody could say that if the message is clear, it isn't clear in that point because it's so here and you just have to get it or not. But I think if somebody wants to know what I'm singing, he or she can take those lyrics, put them in the Google Translate, and maybe have a quite good picture what it's all about. And the lyrics are very important for me, and I want to keep it that way. Yeah.
The weird thing is I've looked into all corners of what you are doing and everything, and it occurred to me to translate some of the lyrics of the songs that I really like into, like you said, a Google Translator, but it's almost like I have too much respect for the choice to make it in Finnish and just to have it like that. And it's kind of a duality in, do I want to know what he's saying or do I just enjoy what it is for what it is? Duality is also a concept that is running through not only Circle of Ouroborus, but I think throughout everything you do. There's this cosmic aspect to the band, but it also feels very small and very personal, like the big cosmos and the inner cosmos. I've read that you the quote was that you embrace darkness from all angles. How does that translate into something like Circle or Ouroborus that I think is there is darkness in there, but it also feels very light. Once again, that duality within that band. But where does the darkness creep in? I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess my aim is to well caress all the aspects of my life, or this, as you said, this bigger cosmos. And in the beginning, of course, it was easier to just go to the dark side, and it was more tempting. And of course, I was younger, and maybe I was more was just thinking that okay, if we are going to make black metal, we have to have this and this words and topics and stuff like that. But nowadays I have noticed that I get also the same energy from the dark side and this lighter side. The song can be as powerful if I'm singing about death or hate or life and love, and that it's only that matters that it has this energy, and I can really stand behind my words. And of course now when I'm over 40, that darkness side, I may be more balanced with that, and I know myself better. I don't have to go deep, and I have been there. There have been ups and downs, and sometimes those lyrics have been very dark and negative. But nowadays I have been there. Now I'm, as I said, more balanced, so I can go there and have some inspiration from my darker side. But it isn't the only thing nowadays. So yeah.
Are there some lyrics that are very, of course they are personal, but that are maybe plucked from real life, like interpreted into other words, of course, but do you sing about your own life, or is it always nature, philosophy, influence, or is that one, probably is one big ball, but I guess it's hard for me to understand once again since it's
I think all art is personal in some point. You can't just say that okay, I leave myself behind and I just take a pen and make a drawing. You always put something in there, and in some point it's just in some cases it's just I look myself through the world, and then the connection to my personality or my own life is quite thin. But in some point there are very strong topics and some lyrics. For example, if I can remember is it from not 11 Fingers, but the next album, this Entrance of the Just, or okay, now I'm very disappointed that I can't remember my album's name. So there is one song that was about having my daughter, or that was a very rocky road back then to that point that our daughter came, and there's one lyric, that this Finnish lyric called "Toivosta syntynyt," born from a hope, that that's very personal. I don't know.
Is that maybe where light comes from? Maybe that moment is something that's brought some light into your life, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. She has brought very much light, and of course, I have been starting to think this world as from quite many different angles. Of course, it's also brought some quite dark feelings, and when I understand what is happening in this world, and my daughter has to live here, but okay, but the same time very positive sides too. Yeah.
What I actually meant, but wasn't able to communicate, is that with the very personal lyrics, is that let's say once again that it is a black metal band. Normally you would go on the corpse paint, you take on a moniker and you play as this. I think what I meant with very personal, it feels very personal in the sense that it is you with your name playing that music or singing those. There's no barrier between those two. That's kind of what I meant, but I couldn't get it out.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Well, I think our aim was to be quite plain and ordinary. Like, of course, that we didn't say about anything about ourselves. They weren't a few band photos, but we kept ourselves in the shadows, and but that didn't mean that okay, we try to be mysterious. We were more like, okay, we don't have to put ourselves put ourselves to the limelight, be it corpse paint and monikers and stuff like that. We just let the music stand out and be there. Maybe that was a reason to keep it so simple. And,
I think
not making an image. Of course, in some point you always take some roles, be it in the band or in your ordinary life or something else, and what is yourself in the end? Okay, that's a big question, and I totally understand bands that making it a big, I'd say show, but really create the atmosphere with all the non-musical elements, and but it hasn't never been a thing for us. Yeah,
I think by not doing that and being so basic, that's maybe the wrong word, but being so true to yourself and not doing everything that is maybe considered cliche, that you carved out in a spot for you within that scene that is quite unique. Actually, I don't see many peers in your world, or there's not many bands that I can't name a band that they directly comes close to what you guys are doing. I put you in the category of something like a Carved Cross, maybe. Like, you know in your heart that it's black metal, but if you put on a record, you don't hear black metal, but the ethos and the way it is portrayed and the way it is lived, I guess, makes it real in that world of the larger concept of black metal, I guess. In the first part of the catalog, I should say, the emphasis was more on nature and philosophy, and I think religion, or whatever word you want to put on that, came a bit later. In one of the later albums, I read somewhere it went about the elder Futhark runes, something like that. Is there something of an old Finnish religion that creeps in, or that you embrace? Because I'm I'm completely lost in that world. I don't have any spirituality. I guess there is some, but I guess we don't. I mean, I'm from Belgium. Our spirituality is corrupt politicians and dirty money and stuff like that. We don't have, we don't have beautiful nature and things like that. So how did that kind of crept in, or is that something you have been embracing all the time?
Yeah, well, if I take that Turisa album that has those Futhark runes, well, I think that was Atvar's idea. He was studying those a lot, and he just said that, okay, maybe try to get into them and to see if you have any inspiration to make an album lyrics for those. And although it isn't connected to our Finnish cultural history in any ways, but there were some very universal themes and topics that made my imagination going on, and it was a nice test to take something very quite strict thing that, okay, now you have those runes and let's see what happens, and it made a good story about in that album. And but in other ways, well, I has always haven't been interested in philosophy, like existentialism and Jean-Paul Sartre and stuff like that, and that was maybe my first step to make lyrics, that there are very big questions, not so much spiritual way, but more like who am I, what I'm doing here, how I know what is real or not, and stuff like that. But more and more, as you said, this Finnish nature is quite a spiritual in many ways. That, well, there is this saying that forest is my church, and I can truly go with that. That usually when I am going jogging, I have a nice forest here and a big old graveyard, and I go jogging there, and I don't have any music or stuff. I just observe outside, inside, and taking little notes, like some branch coming to my face, or seeing some bird going here and there, and these little things are maybe those little cracks that keep that open and let me go in that spiritual world. It doesn't need to have candles and something very that ritualistic.
Yeah.
I'm very, as I said, I'm a very plain guy. That's enough for me. Just go to the woods and be silent, observe what is happening, and that's maybe the spiritual world of Circle of Ouroborus a lot.
Was there a moment on these jogs, something that felt more than just a bird, I guess? Was there, because I can imagine that if you get lost in those forests, that's, I mean, I don't believe in too much stuff, but if something would happen, it would happen in a forest, like in a misty forest like that, I guess. But
yeah, I have it was maybe the was it Wagner Ødegaard from Vulcanas who mentioned this one Scandinavian practice where you go to the forest by the night time and you spend awake the whole night in that forest, and when you just be there, the things are starting to happen. You see, okay, that was rock, now it's something else. You hear something, you hear words, and you get very into that atmosphere, and you're starting to observing your surroundings in a different way. That's I always wanted to try it just to getting myself to some forest and just being there through the night and see what happens. So yeah, I haven't been lost in a forest thankfully, but that would be a nice thing to try in that way.
I know a friend of mine who passed away a few years ago sadly. When he passed away, it came to light that he undertook these trips too. He was a singer of Nihil from Holland, and he just took a backpack and took a plane to Norway or Finland, and he was just lost for a week, just in the wilderness, and that was something that very spoke to my imagination. That I'm maybe a bit too scared to do something like that, but it gave me a lot of inspiration to start rearranging my life and to end up there on some day. I hope. But yeah, I can see that. I can see how the forest would transform you in that scenario.
Yeah.
Once more, to get back on the Elder Footheart series, I don't want to harp on that, but do I understand it correctly that each symbol is like a sentence or a part of the story that you have to? I mean, how does it work? Just real.
Yeah. Those, well, every letter has it has quite many meanings. It can mean soul or warrior and stuff like that. And I just took some runes and tried to search what they are meaning. And then I started to make them in some order and to make a story.
Oh, okay.
And the story goes like, well, it starts from this quite a selfish godlike creature, that one who is banished from his throne, and then he has to travel far. He lands to this kingdom of ice, and then he hibernates there, and maybe doing some self-reflection, and then he understands his role in this universe in a different way, and then he comes back as a new man and maybe as a new god too. So as I said, and it was a very interesting way to work, that you can't just go here and there. You have just those little words in your hands, and you have to think, okay, what they are saying to me, and it worked fine in my opinion. Yeah.
It's not that when you rearrange them, you have a different story. It's always the core words that make, and you have to make up the story yourself, I guess.
And luckily also the songs fit quite well with the lyrics, that there is some more blast beat songs, and then some very very dreamy mellow songs, and they make the whole big picture, the whole with those with the lyrics. Yeah,
it's interesting. It's a language, I guess, that I'm completely blanking on. I know some of the life ruin and stuff like that I know, but once again, some studying material to get lost in. This one is it's a new record, but it's basically older material, or am I?
Yeah. 12 years old. Yeah.
Is there? I know once again that the other guy is doing the music, but is there a possibility that tracks from this, for example, would show up on another record, or is it always an entire creation that is finished when it's finished? Or do some songs it feels like they are not interchangeable, that you can put one from the one with sun on the Rune record, for example? Am I correct in that it's just a complete vision all the time? Or?
Yeah. Usually we make the whole album in one package. Yeah. Usually, well, I know that Atvar's style is quite straightforward. He goes to the rehearsal room, records some drum tracks, then comes home starting to play with guitar, and he can be very very quick. Like you just say, he just says, okay, I'm going to recording some drums on Friday, and then on Sunday I get an email that, okay, I have this, check your email, check your Dropbox, you have an album there, start writing lyrics. He can be, and of course there are some dry seasons, but when it rains it pours truly. So but usually they are always like full albums. And because it's so very short period of creative time that we use, so and that was just a coincidence that this Tourist album came out just now, because there were some plans. Okay, get it now, let's get it out now. Okay, then it forgets, and some years goes by, and but now it was time, and yeah, now when of course I haven't been listening that album for a long time, and now when I got the vinyl and put it on, and it was it brought some memories.
Were the lyrics also finished 12 years ago, or are they new? No, they were finished then, I guess.
Yeah. It was totally finished back then. Yeah, and
so it was shelved.
Artwork was made also back then, and yeah.
It just got shelved for 12 years, just because.
Yeah, I can't remember what was the real reason. I think we always it was meant that Oscar from the record label, we will make it sooner or later, but I can't remember. It was just a nice surprise for all of us, because some people were like, oh, you should go back to that underwater style, and which this album is all about. So some people were like, okay, nice to have this old relic from the past.
Yeah, it comes as a welcome gift in the avalanche that is the last 4 records that came out rapidly after each other, I guess. Normally, and I talked about this on the channel, normally when I get into a new band and they have, like you, for example, 22 full lengths, it's enough to shut my brain down and say like, okay, this is not for me, especially since I'm a collector also, which is kind of hard. But with you guys, it always, I don't know, it always makes me hungry for more to dig into, because it feels like there are periods within the discography of Circle of Ouroborus. I mentioned in our interview, or in the precursor, that when we did Ouroborus, we had perfect, cuts where they kind of changed style. You don't change style, but there's always, I mean, it's too much to make chapters within the Circle of Ouroborus discography, but there are some clear cuts, and it's nice to see, like you say, someone or something from the past that pops its head up again. About the art, you do, let's say, 95% of the artwork for the albums. There is a clear vision, I think, within the total concept that is Circle of Ouroborus. Is that something that you start like with the lyrics after the record is done, or is that more of a collaboration?
Sometimes, well, I have usually some visions in my mind when I write lyrics, that there are these two sides, there are words and some visual stuff going on with the same time, but it depends. For example, the Ouroborus album, I had a clear vision that the cover will be some sort of that sacred land or island there, or some people say that it's some sort of a Christmas tree, but no, it's a mountain island with a short this narrow road going to there, and I had a clear vision that this will be the album cover, and and so sometimes it's quite clear to me, but sometimes, okay, because we work so in fast pace, in some point I don't have any, I just write the lyrics, and then after that I must just start to think, okay, what should the artwork could be. Sometimes I just dig some old pictures and I send them to Atvar, that what do you think about this? Okay, he can say no, or change that, or okay, let's take that one. So it depends, but as I said, usually I have, when I write lyrics, they are quite vision-like for me. They are not just words. They always bring some quite abstract or absurd images in my head, and then I just try to make them on the paper.
I was going to say it's probably more one-on-one, that the lyrics are connected to the artwork than that the music is connected to the artwork, because it all has that same feel. I truly love this one, the beetle dragging the skull. because it plays with that duality again. The skull is normally way bigger than the beetle, but in this case, it's a bug that's dragging a skull around. So.
Yeah, that was quite a separate painting I made. It was just laying somewhere, and when I found it, and it has some sort of a same colors with the cover art, so I just thought that okay, maybe we should add that there too. So yeah.
Is there a connection between you have this cover for Circle of Ouroborus, and then there's, and I just noticed this yesterday, there's this one for Absolute Key.
Yeah.
Or is that a coincidence?
Of course, they were made during some same time when I was more into oil painting and stuff like that. And well, if Autoala is about that sacred hidden place where you can find some wisdom, and you try to find those little holes to dig deeper there. But that Absolute Key album, To Lead to Return, well, it also it's some sort of a world vision, like how we have to understand or thinking again about our relationship to the nature, and as I said, the title says, sometimes we have to leave that we can return to this world, but it's more like a coincidence that they have this, maybe some same elements there, like this forest and the colors. Yeah,
they kind of felt very related in that sense. Yeah. Before we delve into Absolute Key, which is a good segue now, I was looking into if Circle of Ouroborus ever played live, and I found some videos on YouTube from the Moscow Mona show in 2016. Yeah. Was that the only show? It couldn't be the only show, I guess.
It's the only show. Yeah, it was an interesting story. I got this offer from the guys from Moscow, and that that come to play here, and they made a nice offer, but then I told about that to Atvar, and my cat is there. He's not so into playing live, and I'm more like well, I have been playing in a theater, and I'm more like I like to have some sort of a show going on in some point. So of course he said no. Too much hassle. I don't want to rehearse. I don't want to go there. But then they kept messaging me that, oh, come here, and then I was like, oh, damn, I want to do this, and then I just asked Atvar if I find some guy with a guitar, and we were go there and do some half acoustic stuff, and not even the poster said that. I can't remember the correct form, but it's more like Klemi plays Circle of Ouroborus. That isn't a true Circle of Ouroborus show. It is more like me and my friend doing Circle of Ouroborus songs. So
I didn't know he wasn't there. Okay.
Yeah, it's my very good friend Erno, who is playing in for example, this very great doom metal band called Garden of Worm. He's a very talented guitarist, and we have a very good connection. And it was a very nice gig. We made some half acoustic versions of our songs, me playing some drums in here and there, and well, I wanted to make more shows like that, but Atvar was like, okay, it was once in a lifetime situation, and okay, no, that's enough. You got your you got your own happy time, and now let's keep it silent, and well, but I can live with that, and that was as I said, once in a lifetime situation, and yeah, I had a good time, and I think the people liked it too. although some people were okay, that isn't true, Circle of Ouroborus, but well, what the hell.
So it's safe to say that we won't see Circle of Ouroborus play live anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep it that way.
Does he play with his other bands live? I don't think so.
Yeah. He likes his confidence. He likes to keep it simple with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the band that is playing live all of the time is Absolute Key, of course, your more solo project. Is it okay if I call it black metal, ambient, electronic, something like that?
Yeah, I have kept the black metal tag there, especially in those albums that have this monotonous drumming and some very sharp, cold synth rhythms and melodies. So yeah, it's somewhere between black metal, industrial noise, and ambient. How do you want to say it?
Yeah. So it goes even harder into black metal than Circle of Ouroborus. For example, the payment track on the tape we were talking about, the track 4 is one of the harder tracks in the entire. So I think it still stands if you put Circle of Ouroborus into black metal, that it could be black metal adjacent, I guess. The key is in the title, Absolute Key. Is there any meaning behind the keys or the absolute key as a concept, or is it just randomly chosen as a name?
Yeah, it has truly becoming bigger and bigger part of this world of Absolute Key. That in the first idea was just to have a little wordplay with my name or my name's first letters A and K, and then I was saying absolute, and okay, what word starts with a K, and okay, it was key. So and when I started to think it more and more, it started to make more and more sense, and it has a quite lots of meaning. Of course, the basic thing is that I want to have my music is some sort of key that opens new doors for me and the audience and stuff like that. But same time, I have been thinking that, of course, the lock and the door are also as important things as that key. And some doors you don't want to even open, like in that one song in the third level of decay. This new album, this has this song called "The Cellar Door" that is about those darker sides of you, and do you want to open that door? So this key thing is coming up sometimes very consciously and sometimes very randomly. I just after I have made some lyrics or doing some artwork, I understand, okay, the key is always also here. So it has become a very big part in this band. Yeah,
it's a very loaded symbol. Yeah, like you said, it opens portals to, quite literally opens doors or portals to another world. That as a concept is runs through Circle of Ouroborus, but I have a feeling that it is more present in bands like Absolute Key or even the Legion Blotan, bands like Absava or Void of Autumn. I wouldn't say your style is dead worship, but it has a large role within your worlds. Is what I interpreted from all the things I've listened to. How does it play into what you're creating with Absolute Key?
Yeah, I would say that especially this new album, this third level of decay, it's all about death in its many levels, and I wouldn't say I'm worshipping death. It's more like I'm trying to understand it and accept its role in my life, and of course every light has a shadow and every life has its ending, and as the press release in the press release, I say that there's one poem from this Finnish poet called Eino Leino that has this the main character of that poem. He's seeing all the bad things, demons and dead people and everything horrible all around him, and he's that I can't live in this world. I want to die he goes to the forest, surprise, and he goes to his dead ancestors and say, okay, I want to go there. I can't live in this world. And then the ancestors say that, shut up, boy. Go back to live your life. It isn't so horrible after all. You just have to accept that you see horrible things. Mm-hmm. And then he goes back and, as the poem says, he lives quite steady, mellow life because he has accepted these horrible things, and he just he has bad days and good days, but he always tries to put the good days over the bad days. So it totally isn't that okay, death is the option, or death is something that it's more greater than life. It's just one part of this life and this whole journey, and it's up to us how to live with that death. Yeah, so it's more like that. Yeah.
Did you already find acceptance, or is the struggle ongoing?
Let's say that there have been some I had some very health issues. Yeah. I got one very bad disease some years ago, and of course that made I have had to think things from different angles. It's quite easy to just saying that worship death, but when it's truly coming to your door and knocking, then you have to think, okay, do I want to go with him in this case, or do I want to go and live my life? So it opened the theme of death for me quite a lot, but I would say it more opened the theme of life for me too, that what is around me, my friends, my family, or what I can do, or what I can experience in this world. So I guess you get your peace with death when you die. I would say that's a final thing, but as I said, if Antti from 2000 was thinking these things, he would be more like, okay, let's scream about how death is great. But now death is there, but it's not a whole picture.
20 years can change a person, I guess, in that sense.
Luckily, I wouldn't like to be that guy anymore.
True. Now, you say that, and then we have to get into the third band, and that is Rotten Moon. Once again, I'm not saying it's death worship, but you take on, in comparison to Circle of Ouroborus, or absolutely, you take on the moniker of Heinous Soul. There is this. I can imagine that you would have loved to keep it a secret that it was you that it was playing Rotten Moon, maybe.
Well, the first idea, because, well, call me too egoistic, but I thought that if I just go with my own name and my own face and try to get a record deal for Rotten Moon, that people would just see that's Antti from Circle of Ouroborus. Okay, let's make a deal. So I wanted to keep it hidden and detach my identity from the music, and it happened, and I succeeded that people were interested in my music, although they didn't know who I am. And but then when the cat got out of the bag, and there were some reviews that, okay, this is, by the way, the Circle of Ouroborus guy, then I was, okay, now I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It wasn't such a mystery then.
It is in a sense, it's very going back to the ancient ways that black metal was played. It is very, most reviews say mid-tempo. I would call it even slower. It's like a crawling. It's not doom because it has that more of a sharp edge than that doom is missing, but it has that very old sound. I can imagine that it had to be played like that. What influences are there for Rotten Moon, I guess?
Well, let's see. Well, I can take one or two albums here. One of my favorites is the Forbidden Woods. They were like some sort of outsider black metal in my opinion. Not going with any bigger circles and having totally their own way, and that mid-tempo stuff is very great in that one. And so that was maybe one of my ideas what a Moon could be in some way. Then of course the Dark Throne's Quintessence song was something like that I wanted to not copy but to get that very nasty and like grumpy atmosphere. That that fuck you, I just drag myself through this hell, stuff like that. And although it doesn't sound so much, but of course one of my, well, I have said it loud and clear that this is, in my opinion, the best album of the world, Katatonia's Spray Murder Day. Of course, this is totally different stuff that I do, but although the mid-tempo and the monotonous atmosphere of that album was at least somewhere in my back of my head. But well, let's put it frankly, my skills as a drummer or guitarist or in writing music aren't so great. I have a strong vision, but I have to get the frames that can carry my vision. So it was easier to make it more slower stuff and doing it more like as you said, almost doomy and also some dream-like, very atmospheric in some point. Yeah,
I would say nightmare-like. I get the point. The Katatonia record, when you look yourself up on something like Discogs, that comes into picture. Did you have anything to do with the re-release or?
Yeah. This is the I as you know, I have had this or you also have it exists this Arise magazine what I have been doing, and it was this one issue where I was just taking my own favorites and wanted to take the album and make an interview just concentrating on that one album. And I made with the Katatonia guys the interview that I got the chance to ask all the little details from this album, like, okay, you have this and this words in the lyrics or in your thank list, and why there is a bird in the here, and why the colors are like this, and it became quite a good interview. And then when the magazine came out, and maybe was it a year after that, the Peaceville people text me and it was like, can we use the interview in this here? And yeah, it was some great dream to come true, and circle came to its end. That when I was I 17 when this album came out, and I was truly checking all the little details here and there. And now when I have my own name here, that it says an original interview conducted by Antti Klemi, and now it's like, well, again, the young 17-year-old boy, if somebody came to him and say, by the way, in some point your name is in that album, he would be quite amazed about that. But yeah,
that was a Rise magazine, that interview.
Yeah.
I didn't find any Arise. I have a Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
This one, and I just wanted to give you props. This was one of the things that that got me interested in you as a person, or you as a Z maker or reviewer, because the lineup is just incredible in this. The fact that you have Talent Man and Slaked in here is incredible. The lineup.
Yeah.
I wanted to put a spotlight on that one. This is a very good scene, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
in conclusion, I guess we can assume that Circle of Ouroborus has 5 more full lengths in the pipeline, a bunch of splits, and maybe some EPs. I guess for Absolute Key, the same kind of goes, although you have a lot of stuff out right now. How is Rotten Moon looking into the future? Because at this point, I only have the Endless Church.
Yeah.
I got this project by Ancient Cult, or Ancien Cult, if you will. And I immediately fell in love. I already was in love with the label, but this tape kind of took me back in the sense that it was, a sound I was looking for and I actually love. So is there more on the horizon? Because this is the new, there's In the Veil of Astral Graves was the demo.
Yeah.
Then Dawn in This World of Infernal Eclipses is the full length. And then this one, The Endless Church, is another demo. So is there more coming, or are you finished?
No, I have one almost complete full length.
Okay.
There's one song I have to work with to make the whole better and more balanced. So, but no any ideas or timetables when it will be out. It was very great that His Wounds was interested in making the vinyl version of that full length, and because everything has went very fine with those guys, with those Circle of Ouroborus albums. So let's see what time brings. Maybe not maybe this year, but next year maybe the second full length comes out.
Yeah, the list of labels you have worked with is incredible. It's I started to make a list and then I gave up around 12 or something.
Yeah, well, in my point of course, my memory serves me not so well, but in some point, we have always been quite dedicated to some certain labels. Of course, back in the days when we had this, I wouldn't say circle, but we have this a bunch of friends. There was a Kuokkanen copy and what else? Those people from Australia and States, and it was so easy that you just almost like text to your friend and do you want to release something from us? Okay, of course. And things were just happening, and of course, well, lots of those labels are now gone, and we have found, of course, some new labels like this His Wounds that works totally. He respects what we are doing, and everything goes like smooth as a hell. So I wouldn't say that we were just jumping from one label to another, because we have even today we get lots of offers from labels. Can we release something from you? And but now we have a quite few steady homes, so it's easy for us now.
If you put a gun to my head and ask me what are the 3 labels that come to mind, His Wounds and Final Agony definitely are in the top one. I recently had contact with the guy from Final Agony, and I have a lot of respect for that label. It's incredible what they are doing. But to release something like Turisas from you guys is actually, I think, gives it even more credit, because once again, yes, it is black metal in theory, but it kind of fits on the label and doesn't fit, and the fact that they are still putting out that kind of material is quite amazing. I can't say enough good things about that label. It's incredible.
Yeah, they are doing well.
I think I want to cut it there, but we had some preparations done. You already jumped into some of the records that out of your collection that sum up who you are musically. We had the Forgotten Woods and the Catatonia. I think I have 5, which is the standards.
Yeah.
So is there something more?
Okay, I just took some bunch of stuff, new and old. If I think about it has been a very big thing for Circle of Ouroborus, but also especially for me personally, and then for Absolute Key 2 is of course the Current 93 and their album All the Little Pretty Horses. Me and Atvar were very into, and still at least I am very into the Current 93 and those first acoustic albums of Circle of Ouroborus, like Veneration and stuff like that. They were very influenced by, well, Current 93 and Death in June. And even today, well, this is one of my favorite albums, and I'm also really like for example, the latest album of David Tippett and his friends. So well, I like these neo-folkish apocalyptic folk albums, but also those old, very dark and very murky albums too. And I have, for example, this new Absolute Key album, Sundust, has quite strong connection points to those early days of Current 93.
Yeah.
And well, if I one maybe nobody, or at least only few people know this album, this band called Atvar. I don't. It's a Swedish band, Atvar. This is was a quite interesting collective of people who were making it. It had some black metal atmosphere, but it's more like very slow humming. I wouldn't say noise, but some folkish maybe stuff. And this is something that sometimes I try to reach, to make something like this with Absolute Key also. Although Absolute Key is quite electronic, and it has this quite factory-like atmosphere, I always try to put some organic stuff, some field recordings, and like real sounds into this. And this Atvar is one that I can recommend to quite well to everybody. So
I'm going to hit for those titles because I don't know how to write that one.
Yeah, well, but you can. It's with A with dots, Atvar. So,
yeah.
but you can find it somewhere. Yeah. So, but what else? Then, well, I from that little tour we made, I got this nice tape from this band or guy called Day of the Antler. This is quite hard to get, but this is available somewhere. This Your Drug album. It has also maybe something like that previous Atvar, but more like music concrete, very abstract sound worlds. And as they say here, they are called true rural industrial. So it really combines this industrial feeling and same time this very forest-like, or very like you are just riding your bike in some farm, or seeing things there, but it's still quite industrial-like stuff. And so that has been one of my favorites nowadays. And
okay.
Something like that. That wasn't total my best top 5 or something like that, but some maybe here and there.
It's more interesting to show something that you maybe recently discovered than records everybody knows. So that's very good. The last thing I wanted to ask you is, you showed a picture on your Instagram about your top 2022 records, and some of them I recognized instantly, like the Forbidden Temple and the Starga Regal, the More Mother, the Autopsy. Yeah. But there were albums that kind of had the same cover, but were different in a way.
Yeah, well, I can take them here. Okay, I only found the first one. Yeah, this is one. Well, of course, also one of my favorites artists nowadays. This Joose Keskitalo. He's a Finnish singer-songwriter. If you want to say some names, drop some names, maybe coming close to Leonard Cohen, maybe, or something like that. But very simple and rusty. He has quite beautiful songs, but they can be about dissecting people or finding a dead guy in the forest and stuff like that. it has sometimes maybe almost some religious folk song stuff, and but for example this Orphiset laulut, I don't know how to put it, but Orpheus songs, these are more about those old Greek legends with a twist, and it has a quite a ethno style, like lots of different instruments and horns and stuff like that. So yeah, Joose Keskitalo and one band where he was in, this Paavo Harju, those are one of my Finnish favorites, totally. And let's see what else I had from last year.
Are the lyrics also in Finnish on that one?
Yes, they are. Joose Keskitalo has made one album in English, or they were just English versions of his songs.
Okay.
I can remember, is it by his own name, or does he has some English pseudonym? But if you are, we can make a little list in the description in the end then. So, but what else? Well, I have a little itch for jazz music. This isn't your basic jazz music, but this Micaiah McRaven is a very great drummer, and he has just asked from different musicians, just sent me some stuff, some guitar lines, some harp music, something else, and he has just put those different parts and made recorded drums to make it more like real songs. Yeah. It isn't your basic easygoing jazz music, but very interesting stuff, and an amazing drummer. So if you want to take a sidestep, you can check this out. And of course, well, I mentioned my friend Erno from the Garden of Worm. They made this album last year, this Endless Garden, not Endless Church, but Endless Garden. And if you want to have something really authentic 70s hippie cardigan doom metal that doesn't sound anything like okay, we are just trying to make it old sounding. These are the guys who can make it that it. If somebody said that okay, this came out like 71, yeah. I could buy it like that. So very soft and atmospheric stuff. They just going here and there, not just your basic Black Sabbath worship.
Yeah, okay. Can you show the in front of you, because it will be in the entire image, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, there is a nice painting from, let's see, I forget the name. Yeah, Tommi Musturi. Yeah, he's a Finnish painter. It has many things going on. Something gets me some Russian like that could be some child book, Russian child book.
Yeah.
And nice mystic forest picture, of course, here and
in the forest.
Yeah, this was one of my favorites from the last year.
Oh,
so
perfect.
There's some pics from there. Yeah,
that's a great list to end on. Like I said, I normally want to keep it in an hour. We have not succeeded once again.
We had 3 bands, so
yeah. Yeah, I want to thank you very much for this this talk. It's been a while in the making, but we finally made it happen. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I know you are a bit tired. So
yeah, but well, I'm still alive and I have a good memories and experiences, so they keep me going. Yeah, thanks for this chat. It's always a pleasure. People were sometimes people were like, why there aren't any Circle of Ouroborus interviews? Well, there are two reasons. Well, some people just sent me so goddamn bad questions that there's no reason to answer to them, and the biggest reason is that people don't supposedly they don't want to make interviews with us. I'm always up to answer to questions, but of course, well, I don't know what is the reason. Maybe we are too mystic or too hard people but it's always for me as a magazine maker and as an artist, it's always great that you have to put your ideas and your opinions to words, that you have to challenge yourself in those interviews, and this was something like that I had to always think. It makes me life easier that I now know the answers to why I do things, so it makes my life steadier.
I send in my questions like beginning of the week, and then I read the Nocturnal Emissions interview again. And today I was reading it again just to prepare some more, and I was thinking, why are we doing this interview? Because everything is actually an article. So that is my my tip for this interview.
Yeah.
More, it is a very well written, substantial interview about Circle of Ouroborus and everything you want to know. But yeah, let's give them a shout out, the Australians. Yeah. Antti, thank you very much. I hope you have a pleasant evening, and I hope we can talk some more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, have a nice evening there.
Too.